Rock Hudson was one of Hollywood's hottest actors in the 1950s, known for his on-screen romances with beauties like Doris Day and Jane Wyman. However, behind the camera, he was a closeted gay man in an era that was far less accepting of homosexuality. The challenges faced by gay stars like Hudson are both intriguing and heartbreaking. In this video, we explore the revelations made by Hudson's true love, shedding light on the hidden truth of Hudson's life and career, and how they kept their relationship a secret from Hollywood. But before we delve into these secrets, let's reflect on Hudson's early life and his rise to fame. Rock Hudson was born in 1925 in Winnetka, Illinois, as the only child of Catherine and Roy Harold Scherer Sr. His father, a mix of German and Swiss descent, worked as an auto mechanic, while his mother, with English and Irish roots, was a homemaker. Young Roy was raised in the Roman Catholic faith. However, the Great Depression brought hardship, leading his father to abandon the family after losing his job. When Roy was just 4 years old, his parents divorced. A few years later, his mother remarried Wallace Fitzgerald, a former Marine Corps officer. Roy resented his stepfather deeply, and the marriage ultimately ended in a bitter divorce. During this time, Roy was adopted by Fitzgerald without his consent, legally changing his name to Roy Harold Fitzgerald. Hudson attended New Trier High School in Winnetka, coincidentally the same alma mater as future movie stars Charlton Heston and Anne Margaret. As a teenager, he worked as a movie theater usher, where he developed a keen interest in acting. However, his attempts to participate in school plays were unsuccessful due to his struggles with memorizing lines, a challenge that would persist throughout his early acting career. After graduating high school in 1943, Rock Hudson enlisted in the United States Navy during World War II. He underwent training at the Great Lakes Naval Training Station before being deployed to the Philippines as an aircraft mechanic aboard the troop transport SS Lew Wallace. His service in the Pacific Theater lasted until 1946, when he returned to San Francisco aboard an aircraft carrier and was subsequently discharged. With his military service behind him, Hudson relocated to Los Angeles to live with his remarried father and pursue his lifelong dream of becoming an actor. He initially worked odd jobs, including a stint as a truck driver, while tirelessly pursuing acting opportunities. Despite being rejected from the University of Southern California's dramatics program due to poor grades, Hudson remained undeterred. In a pivotal moment in 1947, he sent a photograph of himself to talent scout Henry Wilson, who saw potential in the young man's rugged good looks. Wilson took Hudson under his wing and, in a move that would forever alter his identity, changed his name to Rock Hudson, a combination of the Rock of Gibraltar and the Hudson River. Hudson later admitted his dislike for the name, but it would become synonymous with his iconic status as a leading man. Under Wilson's guidance, Hudson embarked on his acting journey, despite his lack of formal training. His persistence paid off in 1948 when he landed his first acting role in the Warner Brothers film Fighter Squadron. This debut, though marked by numerous takes for his single line, was the first step in a career that would span decades and make him one of Hollywood's most beloved stars. Rock Hudson's contract with Universal International marked a turning point in his career. The studio invested heavily in his development, providing him with extensive coaching in acting, singing, dancing, fencing, and horseback riding. His photogenic looks and natural charisma made him a favorite among film magazines, further boosting his profile. In 1949, Hudson received his first credited role as Rock Hudson in William Castle's Undertow, a noir thriller. This marked a step up from his uncredited debut and gave him valuable on-screen experience. Throughout 1950, Hudson appeared in a series of films, mostly in supporting roles. He starred in One Way Street, a crime drama, and Shakedown, another crime film. He also appeared in I Was a Shoplifter, a drama about a group of shoplifters, and Peggy, a romantic comedy. He then made a brief appearance in the Western classic Winchester 73, alongside James Stewart, and played the villain in the adventure film The Desert Hawk. In 1951, Hudson's career continued to gain momentum. He was billed third in William Castle's The Fat Man, a mystery film based on the radio series of the same name. He also played a prominent role as a boxer in Joseph Pevney's Iron Man. showcasing his athleticism and versatility. Hudson's other acting credits from this period include Bright Victory, a drama about a blinded soldier adjusting to civilian life, Tomahawk, a Western set during the Indian Wars, and Air Cadet, a military drama. Rock Hudson's transition from supporting roles to leading man began in 1952 with Scarlet Angel, where he starred opposite Yvonne De Carlo. This marked a significant shift in his career, establishing him as a romantic interest and leading man. He continued to build on this momentum with a role in Douglas Sirk's Has Anybody Seen My Gal?, alongside Piper Laurie, a collaboration that would later become iconic. Hudson also demonstrated his versatility by playing a gambler in the western Bend of the River in the same year. He then took on a more wholesome role as a supportive member of the Nelson family in Here Come the Nelsons. In 1952, Hudson played a secondary role to Robert Ryan in Horizons West, showcasing his ability to hold his own against established actors. However, he returned to leading man status in The Lawless Breed, a Western, and Seminole, an adventure film set during the Seminole Wars. He even appeared in a Camel cigarette commercial during this period, further cementing his growing popularity. Hudson's rising star power led to him and De Carlo being loaned to RKO Pictures for Sea Devils, an adventure film set during the Napoleonic Wars. Back at Universal, he continued to explore different genres, playing the role of Harun al-Rashid in The Golden Blade. He also starred in the Western Gun Fury and the adventure film Back to God's Country. In 1954, Hudson took on the titular role in Taza, Son of Cochise, directed by Douglas Sirk and produced by Ross Hunter. This film, a sequel to The Battle at Apache Pass, further solidified Hudson's status as a leading man in both westerns and romantic dramas. Rock Hudson's status as a leading man in adventure films was firmly established by the early 1950s. However, it was his role in the romantic drama Magnificent Obsession that catapulted him to superstardom. Co-starring Jane Wyman and produced by Ross Hunter, the film, directed by Douglas Sirk, resonated with audiences and critics alike. Modern Screen Magazine even named Hudson the most popular actor of the year, and the film grossed over $5 million at the box office. Hudson's portrayal of a reckless playboy who undergoes a transformation after causing a tragic accident captivated viewers. His on-screen chemistry with Wyman was undeniable, and their pairing became one of the most beloved romantic duos of the era. The film's success solidified Hudson's status as a romantic leading man, a departure from his earlier roles in adventure films. Despite the newfound fame in the romance genre, Hudson did not abandon his action roots. He returned to adventure films with Bengal Brigade, set during the Indian Mutiny, and Captain Lightfoot, both showcasing his versatility and ability to excel in different genres. His popularity continued to soar, with exhibitors voting him the 17th most popular star in the country in 1954. Ross Hunter, recognizing Hudson's immense appeal, cast him in 2 more melodramas, One Desire and All That Heaven Allows, the latter reuniting him with Sirk and Wyman. This successful collaboration further cemented Hudson's reputation as a leading man in both romantic and dramatic roles. 1. Rock Hudson's career reached new heights in 1956, with his role in George Stevens' epic drama, Giant. Sharing the screen with Elizabeth Taylor and James Dean, Hudson's portrayal of Bick Benedict, a Texan rancher navigating generational and societal changes, earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. This recognition solidified his status as a leading man and showcased his ability to tackle complex and nuanced roles. In the same year, Hudson starred in Douglas Sirk's melodrama Written on the Wind, a film about a dysfunctional, oil-rich family. This collaboration with Sirk, along with his previous work in Magnificent Obsession and All That Heaven Allows, established Hudson as a favorite of the director and a staple of the genre. The film's success further propelled Hudson's popularity, leading him to be voted the most popular actor in American cinemas in 1957, a position he maintained for several years. Hudson's star power continued to rise with his role in Battle Hymn, a war drama based on the true story of Colonel Dean Hess. He also starred in Richard Brooks' Something of Value for MGM, a film that, despite high expectations, underperformed at the box office. One of Hudson's most notable decisions during this period was to accept the lead role in the remake of A Farewell to Arms, a decision that would have far-reaching consequences for his career. To secure this role, he reportedly turned down several other high-profile projects, including Marlon Brando's role in Sayonara, William Holden's role in The Bridge on the River Kwai, and Charlton Heston's role in Ben-Hur. Unfortunately, A Farewell to Arms was met with negative reviews and failed to make an impact at the box office, marking a significant setback in Hudson's career. Despite this disappointment, Hudson continued to work with Universal, reuniting with the team behind Written on the Wind for The Tarnished Angels. He then starred in Twilight for the Gods and This Earth Is Mine, further showcasing his versatility as an actor. The late 1950s were a mixed bag for Rock Hudson. While he achieved tremendous success and popularity with films like Giant and Written on the Wind, the failure of A Farewell to Arms served as a reminder of the unpredictable nature of Hollywood and the importance of carefully choosing projects. Rock Hudson's star continued to soar as he ventured into the world of romantic comedies. His pairing with Doris Day in the 1959 hit Pillow Talk solidified his status as a charming and charismatic leading man. The film's massive success led to Hudson being voted the most popular star in the country for 1959, a position he maintained for the next 3 years. The success of Pillow Talk paved the way for more romantic comedies, including Come September, with Gina Lollobrigida, Sandra Dee, and Bobby Darin, and Lover Come Back, a reunion with Doris Day. These films showcased Hudson's comedic timing and effortless charm, further solidifying his position as a box office draw. In addition to romantic comedies, Hudson continued to explore other genres. He starred in the dramas The Spiral Road and A Gathering of Eagles, demonstrating his versatility as an actor. He also starred in the comedy Man's Favorite Sport. During this period, Hudson's popularity reached its peak. Along with Cary Grant, he was considered one of the best-dressed male stars in Hollywood, and he received the Top 10 Stars of the Year award, a record-setting 8 times from 1957 to 1964. However, the late 1960s saw a decline in Hudson's box office success. Strange Bedfellows, with Gina Lollobrigida, and A Very Special Favor, despite having the same writer and director as Pillow Talk, both underperformed commercially. Hudson's attempts to expand his range with the science fiction thriller Seconds and the action film Tobruk were met with mixed results. While Seconds is now considered one of his best performances, it was not a commercial success at the time. The comedy A Fine Pair, with Claudia Cardinale, also failed to resonate with audiences. However, Hudson's role in the action thriller Ice Station Zebra remained a personal favorite for him despite the film's financial struggles. In 1969, Hudson starred alongside John Wayne in the western The Undefeated, which marked a return to a familiar genre but did not achieve the same level of success as his earlier westerns. His career further faltered with the musical Darling Lily, co-starring Julie Andrews and directed by Blake Edwards. The film was plagued by production problems and a ballooning budget, ultimately becoming a critical and commercial flop. By the early 1970s, Hudson's film career had lost much of its momentum. He would later find renewed success in television, but this marked the end of his reign as a top box office draw in Hollywood. Rock Hudson's career found renewed success in the 1970s and 1980s through television. His most notable venture was the popular mystery series McMillan and Wife, where he starred as Police Commissioner Stuart Mac McMillan alongside Susan St. James. Their undeniable on-screen chemistry contributed significantly to the show's success, which ran for 6 seasons from 1971 to 1977. While starring in McMillan and Wife, Hudson continued to appear in films, including the Western Showdown with Dean Martin and the science fiction film Embryo. He also surprised audiences with his foray into live theater, earning critical acclaim for his performance in the 1974 musical I Do. After McMillan and Wife concluded, Hudson starred in the disaster movie Avalanche and the miniseries Wheels and The Martian Chronicles. He joined an ensemble cast in The Mirror Crack, reuniting with his giant co-star Elizabeth Taylor. Additionally, he co-starred in The Beatrice Arthur Special, 1980, showcasing his versatility as a performer. These diverse projects demonstrate Hudson's willingness to embrace different mediums and genres, showcasing his enduring appeal as an actor. While his film career had waned in the late 1960s, his success in television proved that his star power remained undimmed. Rock Hudson's health began to deteriorate in the early 1980s due to years of heavy drinking and smoking. In November 1981, he suffered a heart attack that necessitated emergency quintuple bypass surgery. This significant health scare put a halt to his new TV show, The Devlin Connection, which was subsequently canceled in December 1982. Additionally, his health issues forced him to decline the role of Colonel Sam Troutman in the action film First Blood, a role that would have further cemented his action star status. Despite the severity of his heart attack, Hudson did not give up smoking, which continued to take a toll on his health. He persevered with his acting career, appearing in several TV movies, including World War III, 1982. However, his health remained fragile, and he was reportedly unwell during the filming of The Ambassador in Israel from late 1983 to early 1984. This production was further complicated by clashes with his co-star, Robert Mitchum, whose drinking problem led to frequent conflicts with Hudson and other members of the cast and crew. From December 1984 to April 1985, Hudson appeared in a recurring role on the popular primetime soap opera Dynasty. He played Daniel Reese, a wealthy horse breeder and potential love interest for Crystal Carrington, while also being revealed as the biological father of Sammy Jo Carrington. However, his long-standing difficulty with memorizing lines became more pronounced during this time, as his speech visibly deteriorated on screen. Although he was initially intended to appear for the entire second half of the 5th season, his deteriorating health forced an abrupt end to his character's storyline, with Daniel Reese dying off-screen. This marked a sad turning point in Hudson's career, as his health issues began to overshadow his acting abilities. As Rock Hudson's acting career took off, he and his agent, Henry Wilson, worked hard to keep his private life hidden from the public. In 1955, a magazine called Confidential threatened to reveal that Hudson was gay. To stop this, Wilson gave the magazine information about 2 other actors he worked with. He told them about Rory Calhoun's time in jail and about Tab Hunter getting arrested at a party. Even though Wilson tried to hide it, many people in Hollywood knew that Hudson was gay. Some of his co-stars, like Julie Andrews, Mia Farrow, Elizabeth Taylor, and Susan St. James, and his friends, like Audrey Hepburn and Carol Burnett, knew his secret but didn't tell anyone. Shortly after the magazine tried to out him, Hudson married Phyllis Gates, who worked as a secretary for Wilson. Gates said later that they had dated for a while and lived together before he proposed. She insisted she married him because she loved him, not to hide his sexuality. The newspapers even quoted Hudson saying how happy he was about getting married. But the marriage didn't last. After 3 years, Gates divorced Hudson, saying he was mean to her. Hudson didn't fight the divorce, and Gates got money from him every week for 10 years. She never married again. Rock Hudson's personal life was a well-kept secret for many years. While he was married to Phyllis Gates for a short time, it seems like that was more to hide his true self. He was actually gay and had relationships with several men, including some famous ones like Jack Coates and Tom Clark. Mark Christian, another of Hudson's partners, even sued his estate after his death. There are stories about Hudson's marriage to Phyllis Gates being a way to cover up his sexuality. Some people even said that Gates tried to blackmail Hudson about it. Others said that Gates knew Hudson was gay from the start, and that she herself was a lesbian. There was also a rumor that Hudson married Jim Nabors, the actor who played Gomer Pyle. This was just a joke, though, because gay marriage wasn't legal back then, and Hudson and Nabors were just friends. The rumor started as a joke invitation to a party, but it spread and became a kind of urban legend. This all shows how hard it was for gay people in Hollywood at that time. They had to hide who they really were, and sometimes they had to go to great lengths to do it. The rumor about Rock Hudson and Jim Nabors getting married was just a joke, but it became so popular that even a magazine called Mad wrote about it. They changed their names to Rock Heman and Jim Nelly to make it funny. However, the joke hurt Hudson and Nabors' friendship, and they stopped talking to each other. Even though he grew up Catholic, Hudson later said he didn't believe in God. Before he died, he did see a priest and confessed his sins. He also received communion and last rites, which are special prayers for someone who is dying. Hudson was a Republican and supported Barry Goldwater when he ran for president in 1964. This shows that even though he was a famous actor, he had his own political beliefs and wasn't afraid to share them. In 1984, Rock Hudson was diagnosed with HIV, but he kept it a secret from the public. This was only a few years after scientists had figured out that HIV caused AIDS, and there wasn't much information or treatment available at the time. Even though he was sick, Hudson continued to work as an actor and traveled to different countries, hoping to find a cure or something to slow down the disease. In July 1985, Hudson went to a press conference with his friend Doris Day to help her announce her new TV show. He looked very thin and pale, and he didn't talk much. It was clear he wasn't feeling well, but nobody knew why. This appearance would be one of his last in public before his illness became known. The press conference with Doris Day became a pivotal moment in Rock Hudson's public image. His drastic weight loss and frail appearance shocked viewers and sparked widespread speculation about his health. The reunion, meant to promote Day's new show, quickly turned into a media frenzy with relentless coverage of Hudson's condition. Day herself later admitted that she knew he was very ill, but chose to ignore it during their interaction. Following the press conference, Hudson traveled to Paris to seek further treatment. However, his condition worsened, and he collapsed in his room at the Ritz Hotel. His publicist, Dale Olson, released a statement claiming Hudson had inoperable liver cancer, denying reports of AIDS and stating that he was undergoing comprehensive tests. The truth, however, was revealed just days later. On July 25, 1985, Hudson's French publicist confirmed that the actor was indeed battling AIDS. This announcement sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and the public, as Hudson became one of the first major celebrities to publicly disclose his diagnosis. His illness and subsequent openness about it would have a profound impact on public awareness and understanding of AIDS, a disease that was still shrouded in stigma and misinformation at the time. After collapsing in Paris, Rock Hudson returned to Los Angeles on July 30, 1985. He was extremely weak and had to be transported on a stretcher from the chartered Air France Boeing 747, where he was the only passenger along with his medical staff. Upon arrival, he was immediately taken by helicopter to UCLA Medical Center, where he underwent further treatment for almost a month. In late August, Hudson was discharged from the hospital and returned to his Beverly Hills home to receive private hospice care. Tragically, on October 2, 1985, at the age of 59, he passed away peacefully in his sleep due to complications from AIDS. In accordance with his wishes, no funeral was held, and his body was cremated hours after his death. A cenotaph was later erected at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Cathedral City, California, and his ashes were scattered in the channel between Wilmington and Santa Catalina Island. The public revelation of Hudson's AIDS diagnosis ignited a widespread discussion about his homosexuality. Gay author Armistead Maupin, a friend of Hudson's, claimed to be the first person to confirm the actor's sexual orientation to the press in 1985. He expressed frustration with producer Ross Hunter, who, despite being gay himself, denied the reports about Hudson. People magazine, in its August 15, 1985 issue, published an article that addressed Hudson's illness in the context of his sexuality, further fueling the public discourse. Hudson's diagnosis and subsequent death had a profound impact on public awareness and perception of AIDS, as he was one of the first major celebrities to publicly acknowledge the disease. The revelation of Rock Hudson's AIDS diagnosis in People magazine sparked a significant shift in public perception of the disease. The article, which focused on Hudson's illness in the context of his homosexuality, generated widespread sympathy and support from his colleagues in the entertainment industry. Figures like Angie Dickinson, Robert Stack, and Mamie Van Doren publicly expressed their knowledge of Hudson's sexuality and their unwavering support for him. This public acknowledgement of Hudson's homosexuality and his battle with AIDS had a profound impact on the visibility of the disease. Previously considered a gay plague and largely ignored by mainstream society, AIDS was suddenly thrust into the spotlight. The fact that a beloved Hollywood icon like Hudson could contract the disease challenged existing prejudices and misconceptions. William M. Hoffman, the author of the Broadway play As Is, aptly summarized the impact of Hudson's disclosure. If Rock Hudson can have it, nice people can have it. It's just a disease, not a moral affliction. This statement highlighted the importance of separating the disease from the stigma surrounding it. Joan Rivers, a prominent comedian and television personality, echoed this sentiment, acknowledging the tragic circumstances of Hudson's revelation, but emphasizing the positive impact it had on public awareness. She noted the difficulty of rallying support for AIDS-related causes before Hudson's diagnosis became public, but his openness helped to galvanize action and raise funds for research and treatment. Morgan Fairchild's statement that Rock Hudson's death gave AIDS a face captured the profound shift in public perception. Hudson's diagnosis humanized the disease, removing the stigma and fear associated with it. In a telegram sent to a Hollywood AIDS benefit in September 1985, Hudson himself acknowledged the significance of his diagnosis. "I am not happy that I am sick. I am not happy that I have AIDS. But if that is helping others, I can at least know that my own misfortune has had some positive worth." This statement, filled with courage and compassion, demonstrated his willingness to use his platform to raise awareness and support those affected by the disease. After Rock Hudson's death, his former lover, Mark Christian, took legal action against his estate, claiming intentional infliction of emotional distress. Christian alleged that Hudson continued to engage in sexual activity with him even after knowing he was HIV positive. Although Christian consistently tested negative for HIV, he claimed to have suffered severe emotional distress upon learning of Hudson's diagnosis through a news broadcast. Christian also sued Hudson's personal secretary, Mark Miller, for allegedly lying to him about Hudson's illness. In 1989, the jury awarded Christian $21.75 million in damages, a sum later reduced to $5.5 million. Despite the legal battle, Christian defended Hudson's character in an interview, stating that his actions regarding AIDS were uncharacteristic of him and shouldn't define his entire legacy. In 1990, Tom Clark, Hudson's live-in publicist, and publicist Dick Kleiner co-authored a book titled Rock Hudson, Friend of Mine. In the book, Clark speculated that Hudson contracted HIV through blood transfusions during his heart surgery in 1981. He also portrayed Christian in a negative light, prompting Christian to file a $22 million libel suit against the authors and publisher, claiming he was falsely depicted as a criminal and extortionist. In response to these allegations, Robert Park Mills, the attorney who represented Hudson's estate in the lawsuit against Christian, published a book in 2010 titled Between Rock and a Hard Place in Defense of Rock Hudson. This book provides details of the trial and questions Christian's claims against Hudson, offering a different perspective on the events surrounding the actor's final years and the legal battles that followed his death. Following Rock Hudson's death, his public disclosure of his AIDS diagnosis had a significant impact on raising awareness and funds for AIDS research and victim care. Donations to AIDS-related causes increased dramatically, and Congress allocated a substantial budget to develop a cure. The Hollywood AIDS benefit, Commitment to Life, had to be moved to a larger venue due to the increased interest following Hudson's announcement. Hudson himself made a significant contribution to the cause, donating $250,000 to AMFAR, the Foundation for AIDS Research, shortly before his death. This donation helped launch the nonprofit organization, co-founded by his physician and Elizabeth Taylor, dedicated to AIDS-HIV research and prevention. However, despite the increased awareness, Hudson's revelation did not immediately eradicate the stigma surrounding AIDS. President Ronald Reagan, a friend of Hudson's, remained silent publicly about his condition, although he did call him privately in the hospital and later issued a condolence statement. A controversy also arose regarding Hudson's participation in a kissing scene with Linda Evans in the TV show Dynasty after his diagnosis. While no transmission of the virus through kissing had been reported at the time, the CDC had cautioned against exchanging saliva with individuals perceived to be at high risk. This incident sparked debate about responsibility and disclosure in the context of a deadly disease. The revelation of Hudson's illness caused anxiety within the film and television industry, with Ed Asner, then president of the Screen Actors Guild, reporting that scripts were being rewritten to avoid kissing scenes. The Guild eventually issued guidelines requiring actors to be informed in advance of open-mouth kissing scenes and allowing them to refuse participation without penalty. Despite the controversy, Linda Evans did not express anger towards Hudson. She even requested to introduce the segment of the 1985 Commitment to Life benefit that was dedicated to him, showcasing the respect and affection she held for her co-star. Overall, Rock Hudson's public battle with AIDS served as a catalyst for change. It brought the issue to the forefront of public consciousness, increased funding for research, and sparked important conversations about the disease and the stigma surrounding it. While it did not completely eliminate the fear and discrimination associated with AIDS, it was a significant step in the fight against the epidemic.